I Sweet mate, so we're on. Let's get this light set up. Yeah, I mean, I wanted to chat to you because, as I was saying to you, I when watching your content and seeing like where you were to where you are now and how much you're training, how much you've changed, like your approach to food and stuff, and even just like chatting back and forth the mindset shift you've had. I get very interested in. I think it's class to see people do that, and I get curious as to like why it happened essentially and how it happened. But do you want to run through, I suppose, like where you're at before, what the starting point was, and yeah, what you're doing now?
Yeah, I suppose like for me, fitness was never really at the forefront of thinking, I suppose. Um Whenever me and my mates we kind of got together in December time last year and was like, fuck it, do you want to do the Belfast half marathon? Or the half marathon, sorry, the relay team for the marathon. And then I was like, sure, never ran before, no idea what it'll entail of like. Um no, those boys are like very, very seasoned runners, like so I didn't think I understood how much of an undertaking it was going to be, especially being like a bit of a bigger lad. And then from that, actually starting to kind of take, I suppose, training a bit more serious and stuff. So like going from, I was saying, like I started kind of this journey, I suppose, like 112 kg,
Yeah,
and then trying to figure out, how to run, how to eat properly, how to like fuel your body for like longer runs. Now, albeit the marathon like wasn't massive, it was about 8K on the day. But going from zero run experience to try and doing that, in a very short space of months,
yeah.
it was pretty good. Like,
That is jumping into the deep end. I think like 8K. I think if I went for an 8K now, like it would be tight. To be fair, like it would be tight. I'm not really doing too much running. Like I run for maybe 20 or 30 minutes and just see whatever distance it gets me. But it's been a while since I've ran to test my time or test my distance. But um, is that your most like enjoyable form of training at the moment, running?
um, truthfully, no. I suppose like in like the most enjoyable fitness, I suppose. I don't know if you play paddle yet. Paddle is like
Haven't played
the
it.
best. That's so addicted. Like it's we do that, once a week. Hopefully, we try and do it twice a week. If the stars align, like because it's one thing trying to get all the boys aligned, but also trying to find a court time nowadays is just next to impossible. Like, um,
Is there
apart
only
from that,
one
like
like place you do it? Is it like in town?
no, there's loads of places now. There's about God, I think there's maybe about 20 different paddle sites across Northern Ireland, like, and they're just constantly popping up there every other month, like,
And is it
but
like
they're always filled.
squash only? Is it like a
It's
main?
like it's so hard to describe. It's basically tennis, but inside a box is the best way I put it to people. Like,
Right, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, like
Uh,
squash meets
I would
tennis,
love
like,
to try it. I actually did try and book it because a lot of my clients have started playing it, and they always like every Friday it seems they're going to play paddle, and I think I couldn't work out how to book a time on the app. I give up quite quickly when things get frustrating though, so I was like, right, I'll need to come back to this before I throw my phone at the wall. But I do want to try it. Um, But yeah, I think that's the best form of like cardio or movement is something you can disguise like a sport because you don't really think about how you're training or how you're moving, to be fair.
yeah,
Um, but the other day we were talking, you were saying about one thing that I think was class that takes people a long time to realize is you were talking about like how to best spend your calories essentially, and how
yeah,
before maybe it was like a lot of processed food maybe that wouldn't be as filling or nutrient dense, and now you've switched that approach in order to feel more. I think you'd said in order to feel kind of more full, more energized, and fuel yourself properly, which is something I think a lot of people don't realize till long term because and this may be controversial, but you see a lot of Instagram accounts promoting how you can eat whatever you want and lose weight as long as the calories are right. And it's a good message, relationship with food and all that. But in the past, that's definitely left me. I remember loads of years ago, whenever I stopped boxing, it left me thinking, well, it's sweet if I have like, a croissant and a chocolate bar for breakfast and then get a deli wrap because like the calories are still right. Not knowing that, although it is true, it makes it so difficult to actually stick to.
yeah.
And when you like that, what sort of, how did you make that switch, or how long have you been sort of making that switch for?
Um, I suppose like if you meet anyone that does know me, like they do say I have a very very like impulsive kind of mindset. Like if I put mind to something, I'll just do it. And I suppose, yeah, as you're saying, like that switching from like, just processed stuff, like, and I don't understand about relationship with food and stuff, but like I've actually found that I'm enjoying food a lot better now,
Yeah,
which is probably a very small, mindset of a few people, like whenever they do start training. But like, going, mornings you would have, as you said, like, an almond croissant, a coffee and stuff. And then for lunch, you'd have like a big lunch. And then dinner, you'd have a big dinner. Whereas now, I only really eat lunch and dinner. But during lunch, I'm like, okay, I do have these set calories to meet a day. I try and have about 700 for lunch and about 700 for dinner. And then that gives me a couple of, calories for playing room each day.
yeah,
And figuring out figuring out how to get like the volume in, I suppose. Like, obviously eating cleaner, you don't feel like, if you literally would have like, those TikTok recipe meals, you see people eating like these small burritos and like, oh, for 200 calories and 30 grams of protein, you can have this really tiny burrito, but you can have like six of them, and you're like, don't want to
yeah,
do that.
yeah,
So it's like those, like, how do I get the most out of the calories, I suppose. Like, lettuce, cucumber have absolutely next to zero calories in it. Like, fruit and
yeah,
veg are really good. Obviously, some veg has a lot of calories. Veg, sorry, a lot of fruit has a lot of calories,
yeah.
but veg is pretty good for you. Like, and then obviously just mixing that into like volumized meats out. Like we were having, it was like burrito bowls I was doing the other night, and then I had like a full bag of peppers, like frozen ones, and I was like, oh, I might just use a couple of these, but then I was like, why don't I just stick the whole bag in? It's like 30 or 40 calories. Like, so I just dump the whole bag in. Like,
You sound exactly like me. People used to. I made a video of like this egg white. I was just volume maxing for a while there, and when I was doing the photo shoot, this is gonna sound disgusting, right? But it actually wasn't bad. I had for breakfast, I was having half a carton of egg whites, basically like three quarters of a bag of frozen peppers, and cauliflower rice all in this one omelet. And it sounds awful, right? But like, see, with the barbecue sauce and the Frank's hot sauce and stuff, I can't remember. I think the whole meal was maybe 200 calories, but like it was massive. Like it was huge. Now there's ways that you can do that without making it look like prison food the way mine did, but um, yeah, I think that's something a lot of people do miss when they're trying to diet is they don't think about essentially how you're going to budget your calories because the way I view it, it's like a wage that comes in every day, and then it's like, what can I best spend this on for the most bang for buck? Um, but yeah, like a lot of veg I don't track unless it's maybe avocado or like kidney beans or stuff like that. But if it's spinach or peppers, I don't really tend to track it too much to be fair. Um, but what have you found any gems of meals like because when one thing I'll try and get clients to do is give them like a homework of this week, try a meal that you haven't had before, haven't had in a while, and they'll go off and maybe change their breakfast that they've always had or change something for dinner and they end up finding something that becomes a big staple. Have you found like a staple in the diet that's really helped things?
I suppose the starting bit of it would be substitutes. So a senior drinking a Monster, it's just perfect analogy for this. Like, I absolutely love Monster. Like, it's
Yeah.
it's part of like almost like a daily rotation, which probably isn't good for you, but it helps. Um, and I would have easily recommended the Aussie lemonade to everyone because I think it's the best flavor Monster. But it's not the sugar free one, which I didn't realize until I actually started training. So like you're already
Yeah.
getting like nearly 200 calories in like liquid form.
250 or
Um,
something, which is madness.
yeah, something around that. And then yeah, switching that out for like the zero free ones. Like, usually take zero free things with like a weird tone to it. So like, oh, I'm not gonna have this because it tastes a wee bit different. But I actually think the sugar free ones taste nicer now. So
Yeah.
like the Lando Norris one is 10 out of 10, and that new guava one is surprisingly really good as well. So
Yeah.
like they're kind of the two substitutes I've put in instead of like the full sugar free sugar ones. And then in regards for like lunch, I suppose, so I have like I would say two daily rotations, I want to call it. So I'll either have couscous and chicken, and like that's maybe 300, 400 calories, and then like 50 grams of protein plus.
Mhm.
Depends how much chicken you put into it. And then another one, I refer to it as boy kibble. So it's literally like 300 grams of beef mince, lettuce, and red onion, and you just throw like that.
Boy,
And
kibble.
I'm gonna get cancelled, but the fudge yogurt, I'm refusing to call it faye. There's no, I'm not taking that slander. Like,
I always call it
um,
fudge, and then people correct me.
I don't know why it's weird, like, but that is a secret weapon as well for everything. Like, so being able to put that into like sauces, making desserts with it, like I didn't realize how good it was. Like the missus, she would have always bought it, and I
Yeah,
never was like, oh, I'm never going to use this. And then as I've started this new kind of phase of like, I'm actually doing a hard like weight cut this time. Like, how can I get sauce into meals without introducing like 300 plus calories?
yeah, yeah.
And I found like 100 grams of that fudge sauce, and then like either as you're saying like a hot sauce or um, like I have the Nando's like Saka sauce. I don't know if you tried it. It's elite. Like
I
so,
don't
on
think
like
so.
100 grams of it, 10 gram or 100 grams of the fudge, 10 grams of that Saka sauce mixed up and then through a burrito bowl, and you're getting like this really saucy bowl for like less than like 100 calories. I think it's like 50 calories or something like out there for like 100 grams of sauce, which is just mental. Like
Yeah, that's lethal. And obviously it's got a bit of protein in it too with the fudge.
yeah,
But boy kibble, I love that. That's how I'm gonna describe that meal. Like Morgan makes these like fancy meals that take time because she's vegetarian, so we do eat quite differently during the week. At the weekend we'll eat the same stuff, but like she'll be making like a corn chicken stack with like the mashed potatoes and the tobacco onions, or she'll make like something fancy, and I just throw mince into a pan with some onions and peppers and then fry it all up and put a bit of Frank's and barbecue over it. But there's so much shit you can do with Fage yogurt. Like, have you ever tried the? We made these things. They are a bit higher on the calorie side, but we made these like muffin sort of things. So it's like self-raising flour, Fage yogurt, and you just mix it around, and then you put like dark chocolate chips in it, stick it in the
sounds
oven,
good.
and it makes like a big muffin. It's actually class. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, there is so much you can do with it. It's a bit mad tasting on its own, but I think with a bit of honey on its own, like I actually don't
don't
mind
mind
it.
it.
Yeah, I've
That's a bit weird. Like, cause I know, like, cause anytime I'm making like the sauces and stuff, like I'll just eat the spoon. The missus like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, it's not the worst. Like,
At the start, I was like, this tastes like ass by itself, but I've grown to like it, to be fair.
yeah,
Yogurt
I
with,
have heard the 5% I've heard is apparently a lot nicer on its own than what the 0% is. But then I looked at it like side by side in the shop, and it's like double the calories for the same amount. It's like, nah, I'm all
yeah,
right.
I was having, before the last photo shoot, I was having a bit of toilet issues because you kind of were cutting fiber out towards the end to kind of drop some water around the stomach and stuff. But I was like, this has been 3 days I haven't shit for, and I needed some fats to kind of help the bowels move. So that was the only reason I got the 5%. Otherwise, I never would have tried it, and it is a lot different, to be fair.
Do you think it's worth the extra calories?
Nah, probably not. I would rather save the calories and use it for something that's, I don't know, maybe just something at the weekend. I can't remember the exact difference, but nah, I wouldn't think it would be worth the calories. Uh
Yeah, because I suppose that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Like, I've known I'm going to Portrush this weekend, and this week I've kind of cut the calories back quite heavily, like kind of 1,400 to 1,500 a day. Because I know at the weekend I might have like I'm pretty sure we're getting a takeaway tonight, so we're
yeah,
like trying to budget that in for the calories, and then going out for dinner tomorrow night. Now, so you can control that a bit better, but obviously takeaways, you have no idea what is going into them. You just
yeah.
kind of expect over 1,000, like
Yeah, that's what I always. It's like most are going to be 1,000 to 1,200, but I
yeah,
mean, I always. This is why I love fast fat. I know we've talked about this before, but obviously there's the slow and steady way to lose body fat, which is maybe a pound a week, or it's a 500-ish deficit really from your maintenance, whereas aggressive is maybe on the 1,000 plus side. But I have a big tendency to massively fuck up when I'm dieting. And by massively fuck up, I mean like nail 10 beers on a Saturday. And then with that comes bad food choices and stuff. But
yeah,
when I was before trying to lose, if I had like 500 deficit all week, which is nice and sustainable, by the Friday I'd been in like a 2,500 deficit. Obviously, there's 3,500 and a pound of fat. And then for that to be wiped out, all I had to do was be in a 2,500 surplus over the weekend, which is pretty easy to do for me. Uh, Very easy to do for me. Whereas if I get to Friday and I've been in 1,000 calorie deficit all week, I'm now in like, I've got 5,000's worth of a deficit for the week. And then it's like, that's a wee bit harder to kind of undo over the weekend.
yeah.
And it maybe results in like a pound or so of loss a week. So I think it allows for a bit of a margin of error. But how do you find like 1,400 calories, energy and stuff all good? And like, is it
Um,
harder?
Well, this week's kind of probably a really bad example because like usually I would try and stick that like 1700 to 1800. Because I would imagine like I think I worked out my maintenance at like the current body weight I am. It's like 100 and well 106 before I started this kind of more aggressive cut, and I think my maintenance was like nearly 3000, whereas now I'm doing like 2000 a day.
Yeah,
But in reality, it's more like 1800 just because you skip breakfast, you have lunch and dinner, and usually because the missus like she works quite late during the week, so like whenever she's working, you're not sitting down to eat till nearly like 9 o'clock at night, and then that's you pretty much full for the rest of the day, like well
yeah,
for the
yeah,
rest of the evening. Um, but no, I do find the energy levels are good. Like I was saying, this week's probably a bad example because of two massive blisters on my feet, so I haven't been able to get out and like properly run and stuff like that there. So like I haven't tested it on it, but I have noticed like whenever I went out for my last run, like you feel like this really weird burn across your stomach. And
yeah.
I'm going to assume that's the body using a different fat reserve, just because whenever you go out for a run, you're high energy, high fueled, whereas
Mhm.
like going out for a run, like you just feel it a bit more on the
Yeah.
body. So
Do you feel like with having so you've lost 6 kg in total, it's about a stone or so from the start with?
yeah, well, down to 105 roughly at the moment, like
Nice.
105.2. So we're nearly at the full seven.
Yeah, yeah. That is about a stone, isn't it? Or it probably is a 6.8 kilo. That's but I think that is like a stone in total was his class. And then the goal is to get how much off over how long?
So I want to try and get down to as close to 95 kg by around the end of October.
Nice.
Um, which it doesn't seem impossible. Like it was 11 weeks when I started the challenge. So I'm currently going into week 10 here this week of already having like nearly a kilo down. Like so that's eight kg loss. So like I do think it'll balance out itself, but like it's still trying to aggressively cut 1 kg a week. Like
Yeah, yeah. It's I think we talked about this yesterday too. It's like shooting for the moon, land, and the stars. So, I mean,
yeah,
you'll not be really pissed off if you get 8 or 9 kg off instead of 10. Like, it's still leaps and
I still
bounds forward. Like,
Yeah, I suppose like me and my boss talk quite extensively about this thing. It's called like a Masogi effect. So it's basically to try and set yourself a goal every year that you have like a 50% failure rate of.
yeah,
And I think knowing that you're going into it with a 50% failure rate, you work a bit harder into it. So like for me this year, it's going to be trying to lose 10 kg in 10 weeks.
yeah,
So, it is very hard to do. Like, realistically, I might feel it
hmm,
because, that means you have to lose almost a kilo a week. And as I said, from the first week already, 0.8 of a kg isn't a full kg, so I have a bit of catch up to play already. Like, and I need to do that without punishing myself pretty much because obviously if I don't make the weight one week, I don't want to have to dramatically change how it goes the next week and then fluctuate,
yeah,
diets every week. So there's that, and then obviously from for next year with the half marathon in April. So, trying to aim for quite a good time. And I haven't properly looked at that goal yet because I want to try and get this one over me first.
yeah.
But, there's two, big, massive like events that I want to try and get in and do this.
Yeah,
And
the
if
weight loss will definitely help massively with the running. And I think you'd said that like just you felt the difference running from like eating clean and having weight already dropped off. Like I went from 78 kg to 65 kg, but when I was 78, my I did a half marathon and I was training like mad for it. Like my main training was running all the time. And my time was like when I'd done the half marathon in Belfast, it was like 2.5 hours for it. Which I was buzzing about. It was my first marathon. Like I was really happy with
yeah,
it. But about a year later, then I was sitting at 65. And in that year, I didn't actually really run anything over 3 or 4K. Like I was using the Stairmaster a good bit, and I was just doing weight training and lots of steps. And I went to go for a 5K one day, and I just felt really good when I was doing it. And I was like, I'll continue on to 10, and then it was like 15, and then I was like, I may as well do a half. And I got an hour and 49 minutes.
so,
So I shaved like literally 40 minutes off my PB without having even trained for it. And I put that down just purely to the fact that I was 13 kilo lighter.
yeah.
Because the fitness probably carried a wee bit over from like the Stairmaster and stuff, but it's crazy the effects it has on the fitness levels.
Yeah, I also think just overall health as well. Like, because like we were at a concert last night, and like me and the missus both, we were both kind of doing this together, like trying to lose a bit of weight for Florida, and we were both at the end of the concert because usually we're not a big fan of standing ones, just purely for the fact your back sore, your legs are sore, you're standing in the same spot. But see at the end of that, we were like, we actually feel pretty good about this, and then I was
Yeah.
like. Well, to be fair, last time we were at a concert standing, I was, nearly fucking 5 kg heavier than what it was now. Like, so you don't have all that, like, kind of forward
Yeah.
momentum almost.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Big time. That's something. There's like I've worked with people that would dread, like for example, shopping trips because they're like it's gonna be a day of probably like 15K steps, that they're not used to, and now like they're buzzing to go on those things, or even like holidays, they're not as worried about like hills and stuff. Yeah, and it really does translate in. But what would you? What would you have any sort of advice or like tips to make things easier for someone who wants to, maybe was in your position before, who maybe wants to improve their diet, wants to get into a bit of training, wants to lose some weight, like any tips from a, we'll say like a training standpoint, a bit of a mindset standpoint and a nutrition standpoint?
Um, I'll probably have to go through those individually.
We'll
But
start
I
with training.
suppose we'll start training. So training, the biggest factor for me now. I've been with different PTs across the years, and I think the biggest mindset shift is you need to have something other than losing weight as your primary goal. And for me, I suppose that kind of leans into mindset a wee bit as well. Um, if you were to look at the both of them combined, so like training and mindset, like you can go into it to lose weight. Realistically, you're going to bounce back. I've done it multiple times. I know that for myself. I've been with, I would easily say, three plus PTs in the last 10 years and never lost weight. Obviously, doing it on my own's a bit different, but, you
Yeah,
know, for me, it was losing weight for the marathon relay. And now it's trying to lose weight for Florida. So, like, that's on top of trying to lose it. Like, I set myself a goal that I want to lose it by this date rather than just losing weight. And then I'll see for the next one, then it's for the half marathon. So, I suppose the Florida one's actually been overwritten a wee bit by the half because I want to get down to kind of 90 for it.
yeah,
But
yeah,
obviously, that's, losing 10 plus kg over a lot of months rather than 10 weeks. Um, then the mindset shift is, yeah, it's just making those small changes. Like, don't punish yourself just for the sake of, oh, I need to lose weight. I'm going to eat these weird viral trends.
mhm,
Find comfort in foods that you enjoy, but just make them a bit healthier. Like, so, you know, if you like, chicken, if you like beef, okay, how can I bulk this out a bit better? For me, it
yeah,
was, couscous is surprisingly really nice and it's really low in calories. It's cheap enough to buy as well. Like, so, substituting, potentially rice out for couscous.
yeah.
Um, and then, with beef and stuff, adding more veg and stuff into it. Now, I don't like a whole lot of veg, truthfully. Like, I've tried these viral, like, cucumber bowl things, and they're absolutely awful. I don't know if you've seen them on TikTok. Like, they're not worth even
I don't
thinking
really
about.
don't like cucumber. Like gherkins, is that cucumber when he pickled? Is that
I
what?
think so, yeah.
I
But
like gherkins.
these are literally like, you shave a whole thing of pickles into a bowl, put beef mince over, put sauce over it, and then you just eat it as it is. And I remember doing it, and I was gagging halfway through it. Like, I just couldn't stomach it.
Sounds like my
Um,
white rice thing.
so yeah, I suppose it's finding foods you enjoy and finding substitutes for the foods you enjoy as well. Like I do think one of the biggest strengths that you can have going into any kind of weight loss training is having a decent fundamental of cooking.
Yeah,
So, like, if you know how to cook, it makes your life 10 times easier. Like, I know, and you probably know certain people that have those like Lidl microwave meals almost every day, 3 or 4 times a day, like, because,
yeah,
they're 199 to buy and, they're decent enough. Like, they're low enough in calories. The proteins aren't great in them, but they're still good food.
yeah,
Um, and people just religiously stick it in the microwave. I'll have that for my dinner. Whereas, like, if you have a wee bit of okay, I know how to cook or how to do something, it makes it 10 times easier and unlocks obviously your meal prep and stuff.
yeah, yeah.
Then what was the last one then? So it was fit. What was it? Training, mindset, and
Nutritions, which I suppose you've covered there.
yeah,
Yeah, which and I suppose that actually highlights a good thing too. There, like there's probably for some people there's maybe skills missing that need to be built. Um, first in regards to like cooking and stuff. Obviously you can get by on the microwave meals, and I do have some of them in the freezer for like just days where shit hits the fan, you can't
we
be
are.
bothered cooking,
Yeah,
and they do come in handy. But yeah, I think if you're relying on them flat out again, I think you're just going to be too hungry you're going to suffer more than you need to. Um, some people can willpower through, but and then on the mindset thing you were saying about having a goal that um doing it other things other than just weight loss. Like I just want to lose weight, and you'll hear like loads of people say it, but and it's beat to death, I think, online. But that why is so important, and also having some form of external accountability. Like you had the relay race, which is like that added pressure of I'm going to be running in front of people with other people. People know that I'm doing it, and when there's so much pressure points, it's like it's hard to back
Yeah,
out. Whereas when it's just you, and even sometimes when it's just a PT, um, like some PTs we all have different ways of like coaching and stuff. Some don't really like to twist the knife, don't really like to put pressure on. But definitely from me doing the photo shoots, and then when I recognize, like when I look back, how regimented and how good my habits were when I was boxing, because there was that added layer of like I have to get in the ring, I have to weigh in at this date in front of these people. I realized, and this is why we do something we would call the 6 week bet, where we make people put that sort of pressure on. Um, And some people do really well with pressure, some people they don't do too well, so we have a different version of it. But if you, I agree with you so much. If you go in with like, yeah, I just want to lose weight, like it ain't strong enough, because you're gonna have to come through moments that are tough. Like it's not, we can all dress it up and say that it's easy, but there will be moments where you have to grit the teeth, so to speak. And if you're not gritting the teeth for a good reason, then it's you're just so much more likely to bend or to fold, essentially. And I think I heard this before at you'll hear the saying like when the why is strong, the how becomes easy. And I've
yeah,
heard this before at different like personal development events and stuff that I've been at. But to demonstrate the point, the guy was like, if I asked you to run into a burning building, you'd be like, no, I won't do that. But if the guy said your family's inside the burning building, you've got a why now. You're in before he finishes the sentence.
yeah,
And obviously that's not as extreme as losing weight, but it demonstrates the point. And one thing that I sometimes get people to do if you're struggling to find that why is sit down with a pen and paper and come up with 20 reasons as to why you want to do it. Like, and it might be very repetitive, but drill down and get deep on it. But then come up with 20 reasons why it's not a good idea to stay where you are. Because then when you have 20 reasons as to why this particular thing isn't a good idea, it starts to imprint itself subconsciously in the brain, and it becomes a bit more worth the fight, so to speak.
yeah, 100%. Like, because I know with the marathon relay, we had a a sponsorship page and stuff as well. So we were running for Alzheimer's. Probably see a t-shirt there.
Yeah, yeah,
So like we raised nearly £1,000 for it. So like in the back of your head, you're always like, it's not even just my friends and family I want to make proud. It's like I still want to show up for this event and help spread awareness for the illness and stuff as well. Like um, I suppose like as well, it's kind of a weird situation. So like I know you're talking about all these external pressures, but like you'll also find influences from people as well. Like, so I notice, like, even whenever I go out with mates and stuff, they'll be like, oh, why are you not drinking? Or why are you not having this? And why are you not having that? And I suppose it's that like discipline of like, I could have it, but I don't want to right now. Like, I can
yeah,
maybe have one later on and enjoy it better rather than having one now and then constantly crave one like throughout the night or something. Like,
yeah,
and like, even with running and stuff as well, like, I had, friends of family, oh, why are you doing this? You can't do that there. Like,
yeah,
all this here. It's like, oh, you need to try. Why are you trying to run this time? Like, oh, don't be backing out. Don't be doing that. And it's almost like negative, and you're like,
yeah,
I want to prove you wrong almost now. Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a healthy way to approach that though, because some people get defeated by those external kind of like mindset or external voices. Um, some people, if you use it for fuel, I think they can be quite beneficial. But there is a lot of people that would um fold to those voices. But everyone always has. I was literally speaking about this with someone yesterday. Everyone will have something to say. Like at the start, it's
yeah,
um, oh sure, it's just one. Like one's okay, or when you're actually in the thick of it and you're losing weight, it then turns to, oh, you're a bit obsessed with this now. Like you're doing it too much. You're thinking about it too much. Or down the line again further, it's, oh, you've lost too much weight. Like you, and if you weren't doing anything, some people would say probably, well, you probably need to start doing this and this. Like, so there's always something they're gonna
yeah.
say. And you just need
I
to get
suppose
good
it's
with
kind of the same. I suppose it's kind of the same with social media. Like, whenever I first started posting videos, people were like, oh, it's cringe. What are you doing that for? Like, you're pushing nearly 30, like, and you're making content online. And I'm like, I don't care. And
Yeah,
like occasionally, like I've noticed, you'll kind of see who's viewed your profile and stuff, and you're seeing like, people you haven't even heard or thought of in the last like 10 plus years, and you're like, flip, are they going to be talking about me? And like, and then a part of me, like, I just had to sit down the other day, and I was like, who cares? Like,
yeah,
I haven't thought about this person in 10 plus years. If you're hating on someone for going on a health kick, that's more on you. Like,
yeah. You've got
and I don't mind sharing stuff. Like, I'm pretty transparent on my page. Like, if I have a bad run, I'll have a bad run. If if I'm starting like new vitamins or anything, I'll talk about it. Like,
yeah,
and I don't care. Like, I think having someone who looks like you online making content going through a similar journey does help tenfold. Like, I know it probably doesn't help with PTs. Most PTs do go from either continually to stay fit their whole life or have
yeah,
been overweight. And like you do notice like people do start to gravitate towards the ones that have been big and then have now got
yeah,
fit. And like I know yourself, you've been fit. Obviously, I went to school with you and stuff like that there.
yeah,
So like I know how you started and stuff, and then
yeah,
went from boxing. I just went over to being a PT now. Like so, it's almost like probably like a different audience you would have versus someone that would be maybe in a bit of the bigger side of the
yeah,
community. Like, but obviously they'll go from that one and then like, okay, I'm now fit. Let me go to a different PT now.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah. No, I get you. That's literally what I was about to say to you. It must be because if I again have never been in the shoes of being well, when I was sort of 70, when I came out of boxing and stuff, I did go through a period of like 3 years of not training, putting on tons of weight, and then having to come back to try and get into things again. But I imagine if I was someone who maybe had never really been fit before and had never been into training, like if I can imagine how it must be watching a PT giving advice online when you're like maybe in the back of your head you're like, yeah, but you've had that from birth or you've been like in
yeah,
that kind of way of doing things. Whereas as you say, like seeing someone that looks like you're like, fucking right, like if he's doing it, like obviously I can do it. Which it must be really, really helpful for that. Um but
yeah,
I would say a lot of I have a real big mixture of clientele and groups. I actually coach. I know I've done a lot of, I think maybe 16 or 17 photo shoot clients, and there's another five here coming up. But I would say that's a small fraction of my client base. A lot of them would be folks that don't go to the gym at all. They work out from home. They prefer to walk. They prefer to maybe cycle. So I would definitely have a lot of beginners. Um, in that sense, you haven't
yeah.
been fit before, but yeah, I think that's a really good thing about your page is you're showing it from the very start. What a lot of people would do and have done is they maybe are starting from your position, they get down to a really good weight, they become fit, they become healthy. They love the process so much that they go, I could maybe be a PT, and then they show and document the journey from that point. But like you're documenting the whole thing from the starting position to now, which I think is class. What was the reason behind starting the page? Was it like a bit of accountability? Was it to
All
show other
accountability.
people?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the page initially started as purely a running accountability page. Like I only got out running 3 times a week. If I don't post, someone shout at me. And
yeah,
it did get to that point. Like I built quite a good community at the start of, if I didn't post for maybe a couple of days, people were in the comments or in the DMs being like, I seen you haven't posted. What are you doing? And I'm like, fuck, I need to get out. Like these are strangers as well. Like you do find the most support online comes from strangers. Like
big
friends
time.
don't care. Like,
Yeah,
and like, obviously from that I've met, people down at the run club and stuff. And like, they've almost came, almost daily acquaintances and stuff with me. Like, and I think it's just that extra added layer. Like, so I was constantly posting and stuff like, here's this journey. And like, now I can go back. It's almost like a diary for me. So I can go
yeah,
back and say, okay, here was, week one, run one. Look at how far I've came in like 8 weeks.
yeah,
Obviously, the marathon relay day. And then from that, the marathon relay stopped. Didn't really have a goal for it. So then I started putting weight back on, started not running and stuff. And then I was like, no, I need to try and keep this up. So then turned it more from like into like a fat to fit journey now, I'm going to call it, like, which
yeah,
obviously running's still an element in it, but it's more, okay, let me show going to the gym, let me show playing paddle, let me show like what I'm eating and stuff, or like weekly
yeah,
check-ins and stuff. I think that's quite good. And it's also an extra layer of accountability. Like, if I don't meet weight one week, someone's going to comment something like awful, like, which at the end of the day I don't care. Like, but
yeah,
it just shows I can show that there's maybe some weight fluctuation and stuff, and how I overcome that then, and the next one might be good for some people. Like,
yeah, yeah. There's no. level of accountability like that. Like I've used social media for that as well in the past. Like, I'm gonna not drink for this many days, or I'm gonna do this challenge, and it's like, fuck, I've got to do this now, like the million steps in 30 days. Um, and even on that, you were saying about social media being like somewhere you can document and then look back. It's like a scrapbook in ways, and that's actually I started on a lot of holidays I go like vlogging them. And again, that's another thing where people would be like, even on holiday, they're like vlogging on holiday, just enjoy it, cringy or whatever. But I actually think it's so much better to watch a vlog back of your holiday than it is to watch like the
Or the
photos back
photos.
that you would usually do. So that's kind of why I'm doing it. I'm going to Krakow next week, and I'm going to do it there too. But nah, I think the page is class, and I love the fat to fit. Like it's such a good. So I think it attracts like a lot of people who are in your shoes or people who've been in your shoes, and also just that like when I read your comments, there's a lot of people that are, as you say, strangers rooting for you, like that are like buzzed to see you going for it, like which is unreal. You're
Yeah, because
definitely
even
right.
like I was out for a run the other day, like, and some random guy just was like, "Go on, look," and I was like, "Who even are you? I don't know who you are. Like, I've never seen you before in my life." And like, it's just those wee small things, like, you know, not that the page is massive, I wouldn't claim to be an influencer or such, like, but like, people have reached out privately and stuff to me on there, and was like, "Oh, your content helped made me start this journey," and even if I help like one or two people,
Yeah,
like that's made it. That's a success to me. Like, I don't care about the views, don't care about like comments, likes, engagement, stuff like that. I'll say, do try and get more eyes on the page, because the more eyes on the page, the more people you're potentially going to help. Like, and if that even starts that one spark of curiosity in someone to help them start a journey, like, they're going to feel healthier, feel stronger, and potentially have a better,
yeah.
couple of months in the year, like, of training and going out and doing things.
Big time. You've inspired me once, I think, to get out for a run when I wasn't meant to. Just watching running content. I'm like, oh, I'm in the mood to go for a run now. But it's weird when people come up to, like, I've had a couple of people, again, my page is not massive, but a couple of people come up and say that they've watched videos, or like even people that I know of. This is the weird word, no, that I know kind of, but would never have spoke to, and I know don't follow me, but then they know what I do and know
Yeah.
the videos and stuff. So it's a bit weird from that perspective. But uh, final question to wrap things up. Final two questions, I suppose. Death row meal, number one, and then number two. Uh, aside from paddle, favorite gym exercise.
Um, Death row meal is not healthy, because if you're dying, that's you're
We're
dying.
not
Like,
volume maxing here.
I'm a lasagna man, like, so like a
Ooh.
good thick lasagna with chips and garlic bread easily would set me off. Like,
I haven't had that yet. Well, I know I've had it as lasagna, but I haven't had that as an answer for a death row meal, to be fair. I think that's a real
no, it's
choice.
so good. Like, and then I suppose favorite gym exercise, which probably shouldn't be my favorite, but I like preacher curls.
Preacher curls, yeah. I do
Yeah,
like
I
it.
do think like getting that over and just getting that full extension, like, and then because obviously you have that support, you can take it a wee bit slower, like on the way up, and you can
Yeah.
pause and you can try and hold it in certain bits, like, and you're getting a lot more than just that one movement.
It's
But
good when
yeah,
you
that or
failure, you can like lift your hand up to kind of get a few
yeah,
extra reps out. But I'm shocked at the lasagna. I don't know what you were going to say there, but I've never, when I've asked people that question, I don't think anyone said lasagna yet.
no, it's
It's
10 out
usually
of
like
10. Like,
steak and stuff people say. Mine would definitely be a Mexican, like uh enchiladas or tacos. Yeah, beef sizzling tacos would be my
yeah,
the pint of Guinness on the side.
cool. I have a road question for you as well, and it's probably a bit controversial for PTs to answer, but I'm just curious to see what your thoughts are and stuff on it around those whole like GLP-1, like, those Ozempic, Manjaro, like Wegovy, like all those things. What's your thoughts on it? Because I know I have my own personal ones. Like,
I think they're really good for a lot of people. Like there's people that I know that would probably not be living as long if they hadn't have took them. There's a couple of clients I've coached that would never have stepped foot in a gym ever. And because the GLP ones helped with weight loss, they then have the confidence to go into a gym. So I think if they're used in the right way, they can be a lifesaver for a lot of people. and some people will talk about we don't know the long-term side effects, but semaglutide specifically, I think, has been used since like the late 80s or something. So, I mean, it's been about for a long time. I think the likes of trizepatide and obviously Retta are more new, and so you maybe don't know the side effect long term from those. But there's two types of people. You've got person one gets very lazy on the stuff on the GLP ones because they can get away with having a ham sandwich and be full until dinner, and then they maybe have a bag of crisps and they're like, well, that's me sorted. And it's like great that you had so many little calories, but as soon as you come off that, you can't eat like that. Like you're gonna binge or you're gonna like that's not good habits to build while taking the stuff. Or they maybe have a takeaway every night and instead of having the full takeaway, they just have a smaller version of it. But then if you get people that use it as a bit of like training wheels, they have the food noise quietened and they can now work on their food choices and choosing good food and preparing food, etc. I think it can be quite helpful. Does your opinion completely differ from mine, or is it the same?
No, that pretty much hits the nail on the head. Like I think like they're fantastic things for people that want to try and kickstart it and stuff, but I do feel like the majority treat it as like a laziness. They
Yeah,
they see all these hero stories online of people taking it and magically losing all this body weight, but they just think it's like a miracle drug almost, whereas like it's
yeah,
not. You have to put the work in, like, and you have to
yeah,
build those routines. And then obviously once you come off it, I think the study is like you do put a wee bit of the weight back on once you come off it because it's natural. You're not feeling as full for longer, like,
yeah.
but you're still going to be in a much better shape than what you were going into it and stuff like that there. And I do think, I know personally, like I had looked at it before.
Hmm.
Like I looked at, I think it was actually the Manjaro and stuff, and
Hmm.
person not a fan of needles, so I immediately kicked that off for me. Like, but
Yeah,
um I suppose for me, like I posted and stuff on like a community for it, and I was like, listen, I'm gonna be completely transparent here. I want to lose weight. I'm already losing a roughly like zero point 0.5 to 1 kg. This was like before the end of the marathon and stuff, and I was like, I want to try and lose as much weight as possible. Is this a viable thing to do? And a lot of people actually in the comments were like, if you're already losing weight and you're already into fitness, don't take it.
yeah,
You're already losing a decent amount of weight. Don't force any more. And I found that really interesting because that was in a Manjaro community, like of people
yeah,
who do actively take it and might not be in a situation where they feel comfortable in the gym. Like for me, I've never really been bothered. Like I don't care what other
yeah,
people think about me in the gym. Like I go in, do what I need to do and get out. I'm not there for any longer than 45 minutes to an hour. Like so
yeah,
having people that do take it and have their own thoughts and inputs and stuff on it, it's like I think it is a sin for more people that might suffer with like food noise and stuff like that there. Like, it's probably really, really good for them because it kind of takes those cravings and stuff away. Like, whereas I'm quite fortunate I don't have that. I
yeah,
just ate the wrong types of foods. Whereas now I'm like, okay, well, how can I have a really good meal here for
yeah.
the least amount of calories? Like,
Well, they slow gastric emptying, and keep food in the stomach for longer, keeping you fuller for longer. Smaller portions can make you fuller than they otherwise would have, and um, you get. I'm not going to say it's pretty much the same effect, but you get a lot of the same effect from having high fiber, high protein meals and
yeah,
extra volume in said meals. But like sometimes, so I've had clients that almost needed more accountability whenever they went on GLP ones because, again, like as an example, I usually check food diaries on a Tuesday, and training diaries and stuff on a Tuesday. We have a check-in on a Wednesday, and I do a run through of everyone's profile on a Friday. And I think I was on holiday or something on the Friday. We had like a weekend away, so I didn't check the food diary from the Tuesday. So there was like a gap from the Wednesday till the Tuesday. And when I was looking at this person's diary, like they were buzzing. They were really happy. They were like, weights came down like 1.2 or something this week, and like calories had been pretty low. And when I look at the diary, let's say there was nothing for breakfast, and then there was like a literal like ham sandwich where it's like the low calorie bread with one slice of ham,
yeah,
and then like dinner, as I say, would be maybe like a packet of crisps and like a tiny bit of beef mince because they help keep full. But that person can eat like that while they're on the drug. That's cool, and they can lose tons of weight, grand. But again, we think long term, we want to use them as a training ground to build habits that are going to last after we come off them. And so that's what I basically had to say to her is like, you're not going to be able to eat like that whenever you come off these. So unless you want to stay taking them forever and gain the weight back when you come off them, we need to have a proper structure for our meals here again. And she knows how to have a proper structure, but again, I think for some people, because it makes it that bit easier, you can get quite lazy with it, and you can just go, ah, sure, I'll just grab this small protein bar and that'll do me until dinner, like, which is fine, but you're not going to make that last whenever you do come off them. So yeah, I think they can be very helpful, but you have to, there's work to be put into alongside them. They don't make it. You still need to go to the gym. You still need to practice your steps. You still need to get your water in. You need to build good meals, protein, etc. So yeah, um,
Yeah, I think that's the biggest takeaway I've had for the whole experience so far is high protein, high volume, low calorie. Like that's three things I look at for every meal. Like,
yeah, big time. And then once you get to that stage where you're like at the goal weight, and you kind of reverse out of the diet and you're eating at maintenance, like you can begin to gradually work in foods that are a bit less volume based. Obviously for health, protein and fiber is something you want to kind of keep there, but you can have a bit more balance essentially.
yeah, 100%.
Diets are, I always say to people, diets are unsustainable. They are controlled starvation, like you're starving yourself in a controlled manner. They're not meant to be done forever. So whilst they are probably the shittest part of the whole process, they don't last forever. If you do it right, you can definitely do it once. Um,
Yeah,
but enjoy the process. I always say as well, I'm mad at, like, I hate saying this because it sounds so cringy, but enjoy the process because you definitely look back at it even in the tough moments and in the good moments, and when you look back at that, there's a sense of pride that comes from it because anything you do that's hard, like it makes you happier long term. I'm a big believer in that. And if you look back at all the hard shit in time, you'll be like, I'm so glad I pushed through that, and it gives you so much happiness in the future. So yeah, smile through the pain sometimes when it comes.
yeah, no, 100%. I suppose like it's finding new foods as well, like in the process as well. So like I would never had that yogurt before, whereas now like if I
Mhm.
don't have it every day, I'm kind of missing out.
Yeah.
So
There's it's wild the amount of foods that's out there that I haven't tried, that most people haven't tried. There was actually something that is very common. Oh, I can't remember. I had it the other week and I really did enjoy it. It was my first time having it. Can't even remember. I did have a crisp sandwich 4 or 5 weeks ago for the first time. I'd never had a crisp sandwich, and it was 10 out of 10. Not recommended for protein or volume, but
no,
it was nice. Um, but I can't remember the actual meal that I had. I hate when that happens. But yeah, there's a load of foods out there I guarantee a lot of people haven't tried. Get yourselves on the ChatGPT and ask for meal recommendations that you likely haven't tried.
yeah, I do think like ChatGPT is one of those places that like a lot of people I know like how do I put this the right way? I know a lot of PTs don't like it because a lot of clients might try and find like they'll upload their plan and stuff to it and then try and ChatGPT be like, oh, why are you doing this? You should be doing this differently. Where like obviously PT comes from a lot more of a personal place from it, but I think for the likes of meals and finding low calorie things, like obviously I can't recommend you the exact ingredients to use, but like as you
Yeah,
said, like a starting point for things like I know when I was building out my training plan for running, like I was able to export all my Garmin data, like
yeah,
all my runs and stuff, and put that into ChatGPT and say, okay, how do I go from here into something different?
yeah,
And it was able to look at like the cadences and stuff around that, which is like that small data that you wouldn't probably think about.
yeah,
And like it only works as good as the prompts you give it and the information you give it. Like, if you have a full profile on what you like eating, what you don't like eating, like I know I have loads of different bots set up in ChatGPT that like one's for running, one's for like gym training and stuff. So like I had a PT plan from like an online coach
mhm,
and I kind of refer to it, but I have it uploaded to it, but then I also upload my training data to it. So it's more like these are the activities, this is the weeks I've done, what
yeah,
weights and stuff can I increase and stuff on it. So it's less like using it for recommend me what to do. It's more help me improve this.
yeah. No, it's just really good for plans and stuff. I think that I've definitely met a lot of PTs that hate clients using the likes of ChatGPT and Claude, and I don't get it because I don't think when you get a PT, you're paying for a plan. I think some of them online coaches think that the plan is what people are paying for, and that's the secret sauce. But you can get that on Claude, you can get that on Google and ChatGPT. I think good coaching anyway is the art of getting someone to do the thing they need to do. It's not necessarily about the plan. It's about getting them to do the plan. Um, I always talk about there's like instructing, which is me telling you, like say you to go for this run, and then there's coaching, which is like I've missed a couple of runs. My mood's a bit low. I'm lacking in performance, and I just can't seem to get myself out to do the run or stick to this consistently, or I'll blow my calories. Instructing is telling you to do the calories, coaching is getting you to actually do
Stick
it,
to
I
it.
suppose, yeah. But everyone's different in how they run things, I suppose. But yeah, it's good. It's a good tool. It's a really good tool. At
Yeah,
the say
and
I'm more
even
of a
having like
product guy now.
even on like a training partner as well. Like I suppose like whenever you because I would always upload what I'm doing in the ChatGPT anyway, just straight after. Like if I do a training exercise, okay, here's day. It's almost like accountability as well for me. Like I have a reminder set up in it, so like if I don't make an exercise one, I have to give like an actual valid reason why not to,
Yeah,
or else it shouts at me. Um, so like I say, okay, here's my training plan for each week. Here's Mondays. Here's literally a screenshot from my app on how to do it, and then it goes, okay, good job, and it's good as well because like it does weekly adjustments as well. So like yourself, a plan only works if you put the work in as such, and
yeah,
if your body reacts to it in the right way. So like my running plan has changed once or twice in the last couple of weeks because every week I'll say, here's the runs I went on, here's the training data from it, and it goes, okay, you're actually in a much better place than what you were the week before. Let's increase this ever so slightly, and it's just constantly adjusting and stuff to me, which is quite good. Like obviously, if I'm having a bad week, it'll be like you might have had an off week this week. We'll lower it just ever so slightly to build you back up to it, and it's not
yeah,
like you're not reducing massively. It's maybe your times are slightly different and your paces are slightly different, but all in all, you're still getting the good training in. Like,
yeah, yeah, big time. No, they are. It is really, really good. Good tools. Sometimes I think it can be better than a lot of PTs, to be fair. Sometimes you might be safer doing that. With experiences that I've had anyway, to be fair. But no, mate, I really enjoyed that. I think there's a lot there for. Jeez Louise, that's really bright. There's a lot there for folk to get stuck into. But what is your social handles in case folks want to give you a follow the journey?
yeah, it's the life of Cry. It's called, so it's like the life of Pi, but just Cry's is the start of my surname. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, post pretty much everything from
Good, actually, I
the
never
good, the
realized
bad, and the ugly. Like,
that. Sorry, what was it? I didn't realize the name. It was good. It was quite good.
yeah.
Um,
No, just saying, like for me, I post everything, and it'll be the most honest version. Like a mate of mine actually was out; he's seen a running influencer, and the second the camera's on, she's like, "Oh, this is class," and then the second phone goes down, she's miserable. I show the miserable. Like I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. Like I will document exactly how I feel at that certain moment in time. Like
yeah, yeah.
so,
That's why I do like the page as well because um I'm probably guilty of it on my page as well. Like I only record stuff when it's going good. And I probably need to show more of the tears and blood and sweat. But
yeah,
yeah, you're very, very open and honest about it all, which is different than a lot of content creators, which is pretty cool.
yeah, cool. No, 100%. Thank you much for having the chat as well. 'Cause it's good also from an outsider point of view as well to get how coaches think. So
Yeah, no, big time, mate. I think it'll be really helpful for people wanting to start a journey or about to start, or maybe in the middle, even to hear from like your perspective. As I say, like I could maybe preach to people about like changing the foods they pick and high volume and stuff, and then everything you've been saying about the training and stuff like that, and having the why with the goal, like all stuff I really agree on, and I think it comes better from someone who's actually in the thick of it, essentially. So.
yeah,
But sweet sir, thank you very much. I will log off and